Hey guys, TRScientist here, and today I am back for day number 13 of r/SupernovaRevenge. This is gonna be the second last episode of this subreddit because there is so little to this subreddit that I'm forced myself to do 3 days a week rather than the full every day of the month. Today I have 2 stories lined up, so let's just jump right into them. We're gonna start off with this one. Cousin wrapped by big sister. Hope he enjoys his wheelchair. No, this is a cross-post repost from r/NuclearRevenge. I posted it there and was told to put it here. Thanks to user German leader for the idea. Okay, so this was around the time I was about 10 or 11. I was with my mother, big sister, and little sister. We were visiting my Uncle Darren and Auntie Carol. I forgot the names of my 2 cousins who lived there, as it's been over 15 years now. Anyway, one was male, the other female. Going to call them MC and FC for male cousin and female cousin. I love helping Uncle Darren work on cars in his garage. He was a mechanic and is the reason I love cars. And often joined him during the week we visited. What I didn't know at the time was that I was at the garage with Uncle. MC was taking advantage of my big sis. MC is 17. Big sis is 2 years older than me. Oh, what? I don't know what happened in detail, but was told by my mum a while later. MC forced my big sis to have socks. After I found that out, I lost my shirt and bolted up the stairs as police were called. I kicked the bedroom door off its hinges to see MC sitting on his bed playing Tekken on his PS1 like nothing happened. I jumped from behind him and sank my teeth into his right arm. Yikes! He threw me off, but I drew blood from him. He then tried to push me out of the room and I held onto his shirt with all my might. He swung me into a wall and I let go. He then tried to strangle me, so I kicked him down the stairs. Again with the stairs. We're getting like a best of. Police came an hour later. I was told off for attacking my cousin, but not in too much trouble. MC was arrested for statutory rape, assault against a minor, and actual bodily harm. I had a huge bruise on my back from impact on the wall. Mum was quick to leave with me and my sisters. We haven't heard from Darren or Carol since, but I know that MC couldn't walk after he was kicked down those stairs. His spine was damaged. He's stuck in a wheelchair for life. Our family has been fragmented since. Edit. I talked to my mother to get the names I couldn't remember. The boy was Cody, the girl was Sky. Oh, Sky, that's an awesome name. Oh my god. Another story where a person got kicked down the stairs. Like, come on. That is, literally, I think, 2 videos ago. In this order of recording, OP kicked a person downstairs and broke their neck. God damn! We're getting we're gonna be getting the best hits of. We're getting the best hits of everything so far in this subreddit, and then we get the bonus of the arm bite. Jeez. Going at it like or the arm, like. I am so evil. Okay, let's just move on to the second story. The treason of a soldier to avenge his fallen comrade. This does have death, and it's not safe for work. So, listen at your own pleasure. Or, just a warning. This did not happen to me, but it happened to someone I know. For privacy's sake, I'll keep names hidden. You can call this fake if you want. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But isn't this thread about stories? Anyways, that's not supposed to be a hint, but a roundabout way of saying, I don't care if you think this is fake. This is a friend's family story anyways, so maybe it's just a legend. Maybe it's true but exaggerated. I don't know. This is very long, so sit down and enjoy a good read. I am already seated. I'm ready. The great-grandfather of one of my friends, this probably happened a bit before and into World War II, dated a very beautiful and wealthy white woman we'll call Hannah. Hannah Montana. She was of a more progressive mind for the time and was able to see past his race. Oh, okay. You see, Jim was an African American. He was a few generations removed from slavery, but at this time racism was still alive and hurting people. Hannah's family was very against him dating her and actively tried to hook her up, for lack of a better term, with other more proper men that her parents liked much better. Just calling your daughter off to other women. Or to other men. Not women. That's way more progressive than this. However, Jim was perfect for her. Many of the other men were using the opportunity to marry above their station or for the wealth. A few she legitimately thought loved or cared about her. But Jim, now, he was a man. He would take her on picnics and walks, and sing and play her songs on his banjo, and just generally be awesome. Now we need to introduce another character we'll call Tanner. He is very important to the story. Tanner was one of Hannah's suitors, one of her parents especially liked. Hannah also liked him, not as a lover or such, but as a friend. He had a very similar mind as she did, and was another who broke the mold of awful racism. He sincerely believed that African Americans were as capable as anyone else. He felt no entitlement to her, and she could tell. He was also a very good man, and already had a well-paid job, even at a young age. Though I'm not sure what that was. This was a time where many had very little, around or during the Great Depression, is my suspicion. And she witnessed both Jim and Tanner giving to the poor when they could. Jim definitely had less, but she truly loved him. She made her choice. The only real candidate besides Jim was Tanner, and she just didn't feel the same way about him. She broke the news to him and told him that she was scared she would have to run away and cut ties to her family to be with Jim. Tanner understood, but was very sad. They departed on good terms. She told her parents the next day that she had made her choice and would reveal it in the morning. She planned to run away in the night, leaving with Jim to go to California from New York. Her siblings, ever curious, decided to go into her room while she was occupied. Again, not sure why. They read her journal and found Jim's name in it. They also found loving short notes from him, addressed from his full name. Her father was in the police in some manner, and her siblings excitedly told her father it was Jim Parati, a holdover name. This concerned her father, as he had not set her up with any Jim, and had never known of her speaking to someone by that name. He tasked a detective or two to go to find out whom he was, and found out everything. He was furious. Not only was he an obvious racist, he was a vowed member of the KKK. Oh no. No. A large part of the reason she had not told anyone in her family that she was dating a black man. Her father confronted her and told her she would never leave this house until she was married to a decent white man, and that under his watch, no child of his would fraternize with the devil's creations. He locked her in her room and put bars in her windows that day, claiming to the family that Jim was some sort of monster. Not sure what. Maybe he said she was in love with a serial killer or something. Theirs was a traditional family, and the kids and wife didn't question the father. And besides, he was the chief of police, I'm assuming. So why would anyone question such a thing? If he truly feared for the safety of his daughter, why not prevent her from leaving? For 3 days she cried. Jim was unable to contact her and avoided her residence as he knew about his father. Her father, don't you mean? But Jim also knew Tanner, and he knew Hannah's dad liked Tanner. He asked him to check on her for him, and Tanner obliged, concerned when he heard what had happened. When Tanner knocked on the door, Hannah's dad was very happy to see him. He talked for some amount of time and tried again. Apparently he had tried many times before to get Tanner to join the KKK. God damn it! Promised him that a future with his daughter would be assured if he joined. Tanner said he'd think about it. Tanner went into Hannah's room and the door was closed behind him. The father wanted him to talk Hannah out of whatever crazy plan he knew she was formulating. Now, many people may have taken the opportunity to have the girl even after she denied them, but Tanner was a true gentleman. There are memes about nice guys, but Tanner was a true nice guy. He cared far more for Hannah's happiness than he did a future with her. So he hatched a plan for her. He told her she would marry him and Tanner would whisk her off to their honeymoon. During the honeymoon, they would get divorced or have the marriage annulled or whatever, and Tanner would deliver her to Jim. She agreed, cried in happiness some more, and Tanner left, saying she had agreed to marry him. Her dad was overjoyed and removed the window bars after she gave a heartfelt confession about how she had always loved Tanner anyways, but had been brainwashed by Jim. Not sure about terminology, but that's along the lines of what was said. Her mother and father immediately began preparations for her wedding. In the span of a few weeks to a month, they were married. They went on a wonderful honeymoon to a southern state with beaches. I'm assuming Florida. True to his word, Tanner got the marriage annulled and told Jim where they were going beforehand. He met Jim somewhere in the state, and after a heartfelt, tear-stained reunion and goodbye, Jim and Hannah left to California with all of Jim's possessions and a few of Hannah's packed into a small car. Now the real story begins. Wow, we've only just got to the real story? The reason I say this happened during World War II is less because I know it did, and more because both of these male characters were hit with the draft. Jim and Tanner both joined the US Army, went through basic, and went overseas. Now at this time, army groups would often be split by race, so Tanner and Jim would not meet each other on base. No, not even during marches. They would meet in combat. But they would not meet alone. Hannah's father had joined the military as a captain or some other officer in the command chain. He was in charge of more than a few men, at least a couple squads. Honestly not sure how the logistics of this next part works out, but supposedly he had several different squads of different races under his command, which doesn't make sense to me, but is what my friend and his family said. Both Tanner and Jim end up under his command. Now, this is a coincidence of all the ages you would think. But no. You see, Hannah's dad was very angry when Tanner claimed she had left in the middle of the night on their honeymoon and had sworn to find and kill Jim and had disowned Hannah. At this point, it was less about Hannah and more about his hurtful pride that a black man had married his daughter, despite his precautions. He somehow found Jim and Tanner both and requested their squads transferred to his command. Tanner warned Jim that their commander had it out for him, and they made a pact to watch each other's backs, no matter what. Funny enough, the revenge is quite simple. During a skirmish, Hannah's father supposedly pushed Jim down a hill towards a Nazi patrol. It was a small thing, but Jim went tumbling down the hill. Out of cover, exposed, and with little to no backup, he was shot more than a few times. Tanner watched in horror. No one had seen the small shove that sent Jim into enemy fire, but Tanner was sure it was the doing of Hannah's dad. After a minute or two of intense fighting, Hannah broke orders and rushed down the hill, taking a route that with a bit more trees and cover. When he made it to Jim, he found that he was alive, but barely. His armor having blocked the more deadly rounds. By the time the Americans were pushing back the Nazis, so there was less gunfire, I assume. He called the medic down, but he saw Hannah's dad put his hand in front of the medic and say something, probably to the effect of, "He's already dead, don't waste your time." Tanner used some bandages he had, not sure if soldiers carried medical supplies, but that's what they said, and did his best to patch Jim's wounds. Jim told him that where Hannah lived, and said they had 2 kids. He begged for Tanner to take care of them for him, and make sure they were provided for. And then he died. Tanner was devastated. All he had done to give Hannah a happy life. All he had done to help those around him. All of it was in vain because of one man, and he would do something about it. Tanner was devastated. What Tanner did was most certainly treason. It was illegal, unethical, immoral, but he didn't care. Tanner spoke German from school. His family was originally from Germany, and he had decided to learn it when he was younger to connect with his heritage, even if it was ages ago. During some time off, he visited a German prisoner and told him his story. The German prisoner was perplexed and asked him what the point of this was. Tanner told him he wanted revenge. The prisoner thought Tanner wanted to defect, though that wasn't Tanner's intention. Tanner told him he was a loyal American, but if any commander pushed his men down a hill during combat, they weren't loyal Americans. He asked the prisoner how he could contact the Nazis so he could deliver Hannah's dad to them. The prisoner was stunned, unsure of what to make of it, but Tanner eventually convinced him somehow and made contact with a nearby German scout group. They were sure it was a trap, but he gave the prisoner's endorsement and they reluctantly agreed. Now, the hardest part, getting Hannah's dad out there. To my knowledge, and the knowledge of the family, he asked to speak to her dad privately on a patrol. He had communicated a spot they would be near at a certain time, and when in the forest, he hit Hannah's dad over the head with his rifle, tied him up and dragged him a mile to the meet-up point. The Germans took him prisoner and asked him why he would do this. He told them that revenge is best served under the enemy's banner. He asked them to shoot him in the arm and then shoot around him and chase him a bit, and then run, and then left. To be honest, I'm not really sure why the Nazis actually let him go, or how a lot of this later stuff worked out. But again, this wasn't something that happened to me or my family, so feel free to question the credibility of this story. Tanner returned with a shot arm to the rapid response of the patrol. He claimed the commander had seen something and chased after it, and Tanner had followed. They'd run right into a German patrol, and Hannah's dad had been killed on contact. He got away and said he wasn't sure where they were. After the war, he supposedly returned and told Hannah an altered version of what happened, and that he took care of Jim's kids for him. Apparently he married Hannah and had 2 more kids, and that led to the current family. Again, I'm not 100% sure. I'm not sure I 100% believe this, but if it's true, it qualifies for this sub. So I thought I'd share here. I feel like this story ended up being a bit more. We reached a new level of racism in this story. Because it had 2 things I can't really talk about without getting in trouble. I mean, goddamn. That was a long story as well. I'm going to end this episode here for today. Links will be in the description to my main channel and also the second channel if you guys are going to check out, along with links on the screen to the players in the last episode. Go check them out! Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when the next video comes out. A ding, a ding. I'm a mad scientist. Mad scientist out.